All right, so let's talk about React. And before we talk about how it works, let's talk about why we're using it. Well, the goal of this boot camp is to get you, up to speed using real-world tools to build real-world applications on the blockchain. So I use React, on almost all my professional projects where I have to build client-side interfaces for really anything or for the blockchain. It's an industry standard for JavaScript client applications. It's widely used in the blockchain space, especially in Ethereum. And, if you're coming from another framework background, you're going to feel right at home in React. It's pretty easy to pick up. It's pretty easy to learn. If you don't know another JavaScript framework, you can also pick up React pretty quickly. We're going to basically learn React as we go. We're not going to spend time just, doing things in React by itself before we get to the blockchain part. So if you really want, to build a little, smaller React app before you jump into the Capstone project, you can find on my website over adaptuniversity.com an article where I, build the Ethereum to-do list in React. And this is actually not deployed to my website yet, so you can see the local copy here. But basically, I show you how to build an Ethereum dApp in React, just a to-do list, really simple kind of app. And that might be a better starting point if you're kind of scared of React and you want a little more practice before jumping into the Capstone project. You can check out this resource. But let's talk about React. So what is it? Well, it's a component-based library that's going to allow you to build user interfaces. And we're going to build a web interface. Okay. And like I said, it's component-based. Basically, components are the basic building blocks for organizing our code. It's going to allow us to, write all the snippets of HTML and also all the JavaScript behavior together in the same place, in the same files. It's going to be all mixed in. And, there's a lot of stuff we get for free in React, like a bunch of magic that sort of happens with the components. And that's why I like using them. It's really nice. It's developed by Facebook. They've put a lot of thought into all this. And I've used a lot of different JavaScript frameworks, and by far, React is my favorite up to this point. I think it's another reason that a lot of people have used it and have adopted it for the blockchain specifically. Okay, so it is a stateful component. So basically, React has a state object that allows you to manage the state of components. So what is state? What does that mean? Well, let's take an example of like a to-do list, right? So if you had a component that managed a to-do list, how do you know how many to-dos are on the list, right? So if I go over here and say item 1, and add another item, how do you know how many items are on this list? Well, that's what state's for. It, keeps track of the number of items, so you can see here in this array, and also the text, okay? So let's see, what else? There's a lot can be said about React, but that's kind of a general overview. We're also going to be using something called Redux to manage state, because React state's pretty good, but we need something a little more robust. And you can actually read more about Redux here. Here's Redux's website where you can read more about that. Basically, it's going to give you a way to manage your application state with something a little more robust than the React state object or component state. Okay, we want something that manages the state of our entire app. And I've used this a lot on professional projects. I really like Redux. I think it's a great way to do that. So basically what we're going to do is create almost like a database on the front end of our client application that manages the state of our smart contract, manages the state of our exchange, of our application, and Redux is going to be a really powerful tool for allowing us to do that. And I'll show you how to wire up React Redux when we start building the Capstone project, but I wanted to give you sort of an introduction to these two tools that we're going to rely upon heavily for building the Capstone project. And these are two really great tools that you can put in your toolkit to become a professional blockchain developer. And if you want some other, extra resources to brush up on your JavaScript, say you're not very comfortable with JavaScript at all, and you really want to learn it more, you could try Codecademy. They have a free introduction to JavaScript, that you can do. This is a 30-hour time to complete. And this is going to give you, an introduction to JavaScript, if that's what you really want. And like I said, you could also check out this React application that I build on my website for free here as well. But, if you have already experienced with JavaScript, I recommend just jumping into the Capstone project. We're going to learn React as we go. We're going to, get the nuts and bolts of JavaScript as we go. I think the best way is really just to dive in, use the boot camp mentality of just kind of grinding it out and getting through and really coming out a blockchain developer on the other side. And then you can revisit some of the other resources if you want to kind of revisit some of the fundamentals. So that's what I would suggest. So that's our introduction to React. So now let's jump into building the capstone project.